He was there.
Hello?
Yep, Commissioner Ryan. Do a roll. Commissioner Campbell. Commissioner Blower.
Here.
Commissioner Jewell.
Here.
Commissioner Cook Hawkins. Commissioner Sorensen.
I'm here.
Commissioner Jordan.
Present.
Commissioner Wesley.
Here. We have a quorum. Next item on our agenda is we have the attorney read the Open Meetings Act and the members to respond. Attorney Gurley.
Hello. Sorry about
Hello.
that. I was having a hard. Hi, this is Joanne Gurley. Sorry, I was having a really hard time getting into the call. Apologize.
Okay, Commissioner Gurley, you're on for the
Okay.
Open Meetings Act.
Okay. All boards and commissions must adhere to all laws established under the Michigan compiled laws and in accordance with the revisions of the Open Meetings Act adopted in Senate Bill 1108 as passed on October 13th, 2020 and signed into law on October 16th, 2020. A public announcement shall be made by each member who is attending the meeting remotely that he or she is attending the meeting remotely, and except for those in military service, stating his or her physical location.
Commissioner Ryan.
1 second, he's just getting his audio connected. Maybe we can come back to Commissioner Ryan.
Commissioner Campbell. Commissioner Blower.
Commissioner Blower, attending remotely from my residence in Flint, Michigan.
Commissioner Jewell.
This is Commissioner Jewell attending remotely from my residence in the city of Flint, Michigan.
Commissioner Cook Hawkins. Commissioner Sorensen.
Commissioner Sorensen, attending this meeting via remote from my home in Flint, Michigan.
Commissioner Jordan.
Commissioner Jordan, attending remotely from Flint, Michigan.
Commissioner Ryan.
Commissioner Ryan, if you want to click the unmute icon.
Commissioner Wesley.
Commissioner Wesley attending remotely from Flint, Michigan.
Looks like Commissioner Ryan is still muted. I don't know how you want to proceed, Chairman Wesley.
Okay. Commissioner Ryan, can you hear us? He is. Commissioner Ryan.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
This is Commissioner Ryan.
Okay, you want to ask him again?
Pardon me?
Yep, this is the remote verification
Announcement.
roll call announcement. So I'm going to call your name and then you can let us know you're in Flint and attending remotely. So Commissioner Ryan.
Okay. I just want to know, can I be heard?
We can hear you now, yes.
Because I've been on for 45 minutes.
Okay. Can you hear us, Commissioner Ryan?
Yes.
Will you respond to, are you attending the meeting remotely from your residence or in
Yes,
Flint?
this is Commissioner Ryan, attending the meeting remotely from my home, Flint, Michigan.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda, are there any additions or changes to the agenda? Any additions or changes to the agenda? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jordan. I would move that we approve the agenda for this evening.
Do I have a support?
Support. Commissioner
It's been
Bauer.
moved and Commissioner Bauer supported, it's been moved and properly supported that the agenda be approved. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Here's unanimous. The agenda is adopted. Next will be the minutes of May 25, 2020. 2021, I'm sorry. Are there any additions or changes to the minutes of May 25, 2021?
Yes, Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jordan. I have, let's see, one correction and one addition. So the correction is on page 8, about midway down the page. It is the second to last paragraph in that top section. The sentence currently reads, Mr. Vandercook recommended providing the documents during their June 22nd meeting. That should be that he, that those documents were to be provided before the June 22nd meeting, not during.
Four. Okay.
And then the only other addition that I have is page 13, just before the case review. It should be noted that I exited the call at 9:25 p.m. And then consequently, I was not present for the adjournment vote on page 15.
Okay. Exit. Call 9:15. All right. Are there any other additions or corrections to the minutes?
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell.
Commissioner Jewell,
Yes, if you go to page 3, the third paragraph from the bottom, where it says Commissioner Jewell asked for an overview of air filtration and product waste. Actually, that was deferred to and should read Commissioner Ryan asked for an overview of air filtration and product waste. That was Commissioner Ryan. Then if you go to page 10, excuse me, last paragraph, second line reads Commissioner Jewell asked Mr. Schultz to provide, and that should read A-N, provide an, not and, but an update on rezoning. Then if you go to page 11, the first paragraph, the last sentence of the paragraph, actually the last two sentences, the second to last sentence of the first paragraph, capital M in master, capital P in plan, capitalized master plan. And then the next line, the last sentence should read, this property would set a precedent for 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 individuals requesting spot zoning, not of, but for. And then Yeah, and Elizabeth and Commissioner Jordan caught the one on 15 regarding she had already left.
Anything else?
That's all that I had, Commissioner Wesley.
Any other additions or corrections to the agenda? I mean, the minutes.
Mr. Chair, could I get a clarification on that, page 10 that, Mr. Jewell, corrected, please? Can I get a recap? Thank you.
You go to page 10, last paragraph. And if you start at the end of the second line where it says Commissioner Jewell asked Mr. Schultz to provide AN, not
Okay.
an update on rezoning, not zoning, but rezoning.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other additions, corrections, changes to the minutes of May 25, 2021? Any other corrections or additions? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of May 25, 2021.
A motion, Commissioner Ryan, motion to approve minutes of that's May 25, 2021.
It's been moved. I hear support.
This is Commissioner Jordan, I'll support.
Moved and properly supported that the minutes of May 25, 2021 be approved with the additions and corrections. Roll.
Commissioner Ryan. Commissioner Ryan. Commissioner Campbell. Commissioner Blauer.
Yes for approval.
Commissioner Jewell.
Yes for approval with the corrections.
Commissioner Cook Hawkins. Commissioner Sorensen. She walked away. Commissioner Jordan.
Yes.
One more time for Commissioner Ryan. I believe you're muted. Okay. Commissioner Sorensen.
Yes, with the corrections.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
I am getting a message that the monitor is steady muting me to, I guess, who's ever handling the board. But anyway, yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. And that's yes for approval with corrections for the minutes?
Yes, for approval of the minutes.
Commissioner Wesley.
Yes for approval. The minutes of May 25, 2021 have been approved. Next item on our agenda is the public forum. The public is invited to take part on anything appearing on our agenda this evening. If there's anyone out there in the public that's wishing to speak on items appearing at the public hearing, you will have an opportunity to do so once those items have been called. If there's anyone else out in the public wishing to address the commission concerning those things that come before the planning commission, you can do so at this time. Is there anyone in the public wishing to address the commission? Anyone in the public wishing to address the commission? If so, you can unmute your phone and give us your name and your address, and we'll go from there. Anyone in the public? Anyone in the public wishing to address the commission?
We have a number ending in 045.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
This is Commissioner Cook Hawkins. I've been trying to get on.
Hello?
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, great.
Welcome aboard, Commissioner Cook Hawkins.
Hi, sorry for being late.
No problem. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Anyone in the public wishing to address the commission? Anyone in the public wishing to address the commission? KZ, are there any numbers out there who have not been recognized yet?
There is no one.
Anyone in the public wishing to address the commission? Hearing none. The public forum is now closed. Next item is a public hearing. We have PC 21407 Green Skies Healing Tree LLC request for a marijuana facility location variance from 300 feet from a residential zoned at 3401 Corona Road, PID 4023-101010. Mr. Vandercook, is my understanding that this matter has been postponed until July 13, 2021 at the request at the city request for postponement. I understand that the item was published when the applicant had asked in a timely fashion for the postponement. Is that correct?
That's correct, Commissioner Wesley. This is Bill Vandercook.
Thanks, Bill. That item has now been postponed. Next item is PC 21409 RBRB Investment LLC request a marijuana facility location variance from 300 feet from a residential zone at 817 West 12th Street, PID 41-19-106-007. Mr. Vandercook, I understand, is it you or Corey is going to give the staff report?
It'll be me. This is Corey.
This is Corey. Okay, Corey. Your staff report on.
All right. So since PC 21409 and PC 21410 are both the same applicant and the same parcel, I'm just going to go over both right now. So the location is 817 West 12th Street. The parcel does not have any special regulated use approvals or conditional approvals or variances attached to it currently. The applicant is the property owner. They requested a location confirmation for a Group F growing and processing license, and were informed that they are within 300 feet of a residential parcel and within 500 feet of a faith-based organization. So they are requesting variances from both standards. They will need 121 feet of relief from the residential setback, and they need 95 feet of relief from the faith-based organization setback. And in order to grant a variance, it's important to keep in mind that they have to demonstrate an undue hardship and prove that special and unusual conditions pertaining to that particular parcel have created and warranted this variance request. And then pulling directly from the adopted marijuana ordinance, there's some standards that have to be used to make your decision. So the proposed use cannot alter the essential character of the area. The problem cannot be a self-created hardship. The use has to be compatible with adjacent uses of land. The plight that the applicant is facing has to be unique and particular to this property, and issuance of the variance should ensure that the spirit of the ordinance remains intact. Are there any questions for me?
Any questions from the commissioners to staff? Okay, Corey, thank you.
Yep.
Is the applicant present?
Yes, sir.
State your name.
My name's Nathan Shevick, Shevick, on behalf of RBRB Investments. Also, Chris Jamil is here for RBRB Investments, and Jacob Zaituna.
Okay.
Mr.
So-
Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell.
Commissioner Joel?
Yeah, can we get a clarification on the status of the owner?
RBRB Investments owns the property.
That was not my question.
Business name.
Is a Barbara Macy the owner?
Massey?
Massey, my apologies.
Yes, so she is a member of the ownership. She's a member of the entity that owns the property. Correct, sir. She signed. Yes.
That wasn't my question. My question on my application that here has signature of property owner and signature of applicant. It says Barbara Macy.
Right. The applicant is RBRB Investments, but she is the owner. You are correct, sir.
Okay. So go back to my question, the status of Barbara Macy.
As far as, I guess I don't understand.
For the presentation this evening.
Oh, she is not available for the presentation this evening. That's why we are here.
Okay, Mr. Chair,
Okay.
as usual in the past, regarding owners and applicants actually applying, I appreciate the attorney, as I've always shared in previous scenarios, representing and so forth. I will defer to you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. And you're Mr. Schultz, is it?
Shevik, sir.
Shevnik? Mr. Shevnik, who are you now? You are the,
I represent Miss Massey individually, and I represent RBRB Investments as an entity. I also represent
And
the potential operator who is here on the line as well. The owner of the property, Miss Massey, after trying to find uses for the property, found somebody to operate a potential grow here. He is on the line as well. So yes.
so we have a scattered sort of, so Mrs. Massey, the owner, is unavailable. And you are you an attorney or?
I
you
am,
just-
sir. I am an attorney. I'm her attorney and the entity owner attorney.
Mr. Chair, two items. I know other folks can represent owners. They need to notify staff to that situation. And then secondly, the application before us this evening is for a location variance. It's not for an application for a special regulated.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I put on the application that I was the contact, and I've been doing all the communicating with the city staff. I think Mr. Vandercook and Ms. Kesey could attest to anticipating me being here to represent this application.
Okay, let's move on. Tell us your, why you're requesting this variance.
I appreciate the time, and I'll try to be quick. We have tried to put other businesses in this building. Currently, it's not really being used. We believe that this is the best use after being approached by an operator who would wish to renovate this building. And when we got back from the city, it being too close to a couple of things, we took it upon ourselves. We actually submitted letters from every property owner that is affected by this facility. There is a little neighborhood over there. It is, I believe, on Kathleen Street, Erie and Jarvis. There are some homes there. We went out and got letters signed that this would not be a problem for any of them, and submitted those letters as part of the packet. we believe that this would not be, harmful to the neighborhood and would be compatible with the uses. There is an oil refinery behind it. It is, a pretty industrial area. There's a sign shop and a fuel shop, or a fuel storage. I'm sorry, my mistake. So we do believe it would be compatible use. It wouldn't impact traffic. It's not like there would be a lot of people coming. It's not going to be any retail, sales, just some people working there. We would seal the building during the renovation, as we told the property owners around the area. We'd seal the building, put in the HVAC that would scrub the air so there wouldn't be any, odors. Essentially, we'd make this place, if there were any other business here, it would be the same. This would be the same type of business that you would want here in this kind of industrial area.
Okay. So questions from the commission to the attorney representing the applicant.
This is Commissioner Jordan. I have a question for the applicant. So my question is this, Mr. Shevik. One of the criteria for us to be able to look at a locational variance has to do with the circumstances being peculiar to the property, not relative to the general neighborhood. I did see what you wrote in response to that question as part of the application, but I'm wondering if you could provide a little bit more context or information about that. The situation where I'm most familiar with an argument being made around the particular peculiarities of a property have more things to do like with a very unconventionally shaped parcel or something of that nature, which doesn't seem to be the case here. So I'm wondering if you could elaborate on that point.
Yeah, I think the nature of the building kind of in this industrial area being so close to residential is makes it unique and, kind of sets it apart from other parcels that are in industrial, use zones. I think that it's definitely not the shape of the parcel, although the parcel is large. We could, potentially do some things there. We're trying to use the building. So yeah, it's just the general nature of its proximity as to the zoning and the master plan. Now, I do not have the figures on how many industrial, buildings do abut residential zoning. I'm sure maybe somebody else here might potentially have that info, but I do not. And I think that's the general difficulty that we're facing here.
Did that address your question, Commissioner Jordan?
Well, I think it provides his answer, and so I appreciate the response.
Thank you. Other questions from the commission? Yes.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Sorensen, what is the history of that property?
Right now, it's vacant. The general ownership history, I just know that my client.
The prior uses for that property.
Oh, that I could not tell you since they've owned it. It has not been used for much. So I cannot tell you what it was used for before.
How long have they owned it?
Gosh. Let me, I think a couple of years. Trying to look up the tax history right now, my mistake.
Do any of the other commissioners know what this property was used for before? Is the building set back from the road quite a ways?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. I believe it is 100%. I'm looking at the map right now. There's a railroad track behind it.
What's the square footage of that building?
The square footage of the building. Let me ask Chris, could I ask you to jump on here and assist us with the building?
I mean, did it used to be like
It's about 23,000 square feet.
okay. Did that used to be like the Goody Barn or something back in the day?
Yeah, back in the day it was, yes.
Okay, so that is the property we're speaking of. Okay.
Yep. And it is far from the road.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Thank you.
What, I'm sorry, Commissioner Swanson still.
Go ahead. Lawrence.
There is a church there that I'm, obviously aware of, from this filing, but also just because I'm familiar with that strip of property there. That church is not operating, am I correct?
We believe it is not. We have attempted to go over there and make contact as we did with all of the other residences as well. Yes, so we do not believe it is.
Okay, thank you.
There are a lot of churches not operating at this point right now because of the pandemic.
Well, I did say, I did use the term operating, but I do believe that that church has not been used for a long time, and I just needed to see if I could confirm that.
Right, if I may, there were no like Zoom instructions on a door or like service times or anything like that for us to reach anybody.
Nothing, I don't know if they have a marquee, anything on the marquee, current on the marquee?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
So this is Commissioner Jordan again. So I am pulling up my friend's Google Maps here and looking at the street view. It appears that their whatever parcel lies between the subject property and Kathleen Street, that it's essentially just a flat vacant, almost like it's parking lot sort of thing, so that there's no sort of visual screening or buffering of any sort between the subject property and the homes that are right across the street on Kathleen. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So there is no buffer between the property and the residential, the subject property and the resident. Is that correct, right? That's what you're telling me.
Not exactly. There's some shrubs there, and then it goes up where the building is. It's across from a storage and fuel, it says on the maps, and then up the property that is the building is not in. There it abuts the residential zoning, but the building part, it's across from another business.
So just to make sure I'm looking at the right thing, is the subject building, is that the storage building that's got the blue bay doors?
You got it. Yeah, you are looking at correct.
Okay. And so it looks like there's a driveway that comes out to Kathleen Street from that property, and that directly across the way would be a residential block.
Correct.
Okay.
On another note, the church did sign off on us being there.
What was that again?
Oh, he did make contact with the church, he said, sorry, and they did sign a letter.
Commissioner Wesley, just for some information regarding that, the church signed a letter that said they would leave it up to the discretion of the board to decide which way to go.
This is Commissioner Sorensen. Are you going to be using the Kathleen entrance driveway to conduct your business? Should you be approved to do this business here at this location, or would you be using the 12th Street entrance?
12th Street entrance primarily.
Okay.
This is Commissioner Jordan. Just one more question. So in terms of the prior use of this property I heard you say that it was difficult to find another use. Wilhelm Self Storage, does that ring a bell?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, because the picture I'm looking at would have been from not quite 2 years ago, and it looks like it was being actively used as a storage facility at that point.
Yeah, it was owned. They've owned it ever since 2012.
Other questions from the commissioners to the applicant?
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell to the applicant. Just for confirmation, is it Shivik? Did I pronounce that correctly, sir?
It's a Shevik. That's close enough though, sir. Close.
Shevik. My apologies, sir.
No
My
worries.
apologies. You had shared that you had letters from the residents abutting the parcels and had submitted that to staff.
Yes, sir.
You also had shared, for those letters, can you share with us, were they of support? Were they of not support? How many were they? Or
We went and knocked on doors to everybody in that neighborhood over there and had a form letter that says we support the growing and processing of marijuana essentially, and just had them sign their name and write their property ownership address. And we believe it was everybody that was affected, or even in that neighborhood, just to the 300 feet. There's a number of them. Chris, how many did we have? I believe 34 maybe?
Well, including the liquor store and the homes, I think it was close to like 20, I believe it was like 24.
24, sorry, my mistake.
that's all right. And then just to confirm, you had shared you had gotten a letter from the church, from the faith-based organization. Can you clarify what that letter stated?
As Mr. Vandercook stated, it was said it would leave it up to the board to decide. It was not pro nor negative or against the proposal. It said essentially it will leave it in your hands.
Okay, thank you ever so much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Wesley, to elaborate on the question that Mr. Jewell asked. The letter did come into.
Mr. Vandercook, we can elaborate on that in our discussion.
Thank you very much.
Is there any other questions from the commission to the applicant? Any other questions from the commission to the applicant? I will now open it up for the public. Is there anyone in the public wishing to speak in favor of PC 21409 RBRB Investment LLC request for a marijuana facility location variance from 300 feet from a residential zone at 817 West 12th Street, all PID 4119106007, and PC 21410 RB&B Investments request for a marijuana facility location variance from a 500 feet from a faith-based organization at 817 West 12th Street, PID 4119106007. Anyone in the public wishing to speak in favor of these variants from 300 feet from a residential zone area and 500 feet from a faith-based organization? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? The chair notes that according to the applicant, they have 21 letters of support or 21 signatures from a letter that they drafted and had contact with residents in the area who signed that letter in support of the variance of 300 feet from a residence, and a letter that was signed by the church leaving this matter up to the board. But is there anyone out in the virtual public wishing to address the commission in support of the variances from 300 feet from a residential and 500 feet from a faith-based facility? Anyone wishing to speak in support? Anyone wishing to speak in support? KZ, if you have anyone on the line.
I do not see anyone on the line.
None?
None.
To Mr. Vandercook, you have those signatures of those wishing to, who have signed in support of the variances?
Yes, I do, Commissioner Wesley.
You have those, okay.
Mr. Chair, can we read the body of the letter of the signature at all?
Sure. Savannah, do you have that letter in front of you?
Commissioner Wesley, I don't. I came home tonight. I'm sorry to join the meeting and didn't bring the package with me. I apologize.
Okay. Okay. Are they are those letters at the office in the packet that you have?
That's correct. They're at the office, Commissioner Wesley.
Jonathan at the office? Or
Jonathan's at home.
Okay.
The letter is, if you don't mind me, Commissioner Wesley, the letter was a form letter. There were almost several dozen of those letters that came in support.
I can read it if you'd like. I can read it if you'd like.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell.
Yes.
It may be appropriate when we get to our, for you, either at this point to have the applicant representative read that form letter, or we can do that during our discussion.
I can do it right now if you'd like.
That would be up to the chair to decide.
Yeah, I understand that. But since Commissioner Blauer asked, I think I have him read the letter now.
Okay.
So not to let it get too far down the line before I open it up for those who might want to speak in opposition. So you can read the letter now, if you would.
Reading from the letter. Dear City of Flint Department of Planning, it is my understanding that the City of Flint medical marijuana ordinance does not allow medical marijuana grow facilities within 300 feet of residential zoning in the city. However, as the property owner within that residential buffer of the proposed facility at 817 West 12th Street, Flint, Michigan, 48503, I fully support a variance being granted for the facility at this location. End letter, signature.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that was the letter that was sent out by the applicant, signed and returned to planning office. And now I'm going to open the floor up for anyone wishing to oppose. Anyone wishing to oppose PC 21409 RBRB Investment LLC requests a marijuana facility location variance from 300 feet from a residential zone at 817 12th Street, PID 4119-106007, and PC 21410 R&B Investment LLC requests for marijuana facility location variance from a 500 feet from a faith-based organization at 817 12th Street, PID 4119-106007. Is there anyone wishing to oppose? Anyone wishing to oppose? Anyone wishing to oppose? KZ, is there anyone on the line?
We have a number ending in 228.
Commissioner Campbell.
Welcome, Commissioner Campbell.
Thank you. I've been on for a while.
Okay. Is there anyone wishing to oppose?
There's no one else.
Anyone wishing to oppose? There's no one on the line. Bill, did we get any correspondence in opposition?
There was no correspondence in opposition, Commissioner Wesley.
You said none?
There was none. That's correct.
Okay. Okay. All right. Is anyone out there wishing to oppose? There's no one on the line? KZ, that portion of the public hearing is now closed. The decision is now up for discussion between the commissioners.
This is Commissioner Ryan.
Commissioner Ryan?
My question is, does the faith-based church owner plan to reopen the church, or have they been contacted, or do the city have a letter of that status?
Your question is
because of it's already
the letter that the city has basically said that the church response was they would leave it up to the decision of the planning commission.
And that's the owner of the property, correct?
I'm not sure. Was that the owner of the church or the minister of who? Who signed that? Who signed that letter? Do you happen to know?
Bill. Yeah,
Bill?
Mr. Commissioner Wesley, Bill Vandercook. That letter was signed by Timothy Stevens as the treasurer, and it was signed by a board member also.
Okay.
Are they the owner? Is the church the owner of the property? All right.
Of the church?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
What? Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes?
Commissioner Campbell, concerning the church, when you say there's someone that's the treasurer of the church and someone else, I'm in agreement with Mr. Commissioner Ryan that someone owns that church, and that's the person that they should have signed the letter, because there's always people at the church that do not own the church, but they may be in that building. So I'm with him as to who owns that property. Can someone look that up and see who it's owned by?
It's the ownership on our database. It's owned by the Flint Church of Christ. The building's been there for probably 40 50 years
Yeah.
as the Flint Church of Christ.
Right.
And I personally know that, that the Flint Church of Christ is the owner, and those individuals that have signed have the authority to sign on behalf of the church.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell,
Yes.
I have just consensus and discussion. When we're looking at the property, and we understand that this would be a good, I guess, a use for the property. My concern is that the next person that comes and they can go within 300 feet of a residence and get letters signed, do we then have to okay that in the future? Because what decision we make tonight is going to affect our ordinance, correct? Or won't make a difference?
No, I don't know if that, no, it wouldn't affect our ordinance.
Well, I mean, if we're saying that if we're saying that you have to be cannot be within 500 feet of a church or 300 feet within a residence, and this property is both, if we decide that this is okay today, will we also in the future have to say okay because of that? Because we're going to set a precedent at this point.
No, I think we have to look, just like the ordinance said, we have to look at, does this create an undue hardship for the person
right
in request? And those questions we have to answer. Certain questions we have to answer that we have to answer for any variance that comes before us. So I don't think this would set a precedent, but I think we must answer those questions to our satisfaction. Will it?
Yeah,
the applicant demonstrate that this is will create an undue hardship? I don't know that the applicant has done that. So,
Mr. Chair.
This is the question that we must answer.
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell. Mr.
Go ahead,
Chair,
Commissioner Jewell.
Can you
Yes.
hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes.
Well, go ahead.
Okay, a couple of items. First off, if we take 409 regarding residents, if our colleagues will reflect back when we were reviewing after a variety of input of setting locational boundaries, our original recommendation was 500 feet from any residential parcel area. And that then went to city council, and city council revised it to 300 feet. So we as a commission had already priorly set some parameters based on input for 500. Additionally, if we take there's been a number of situations in the past where individuals have approached us regarding application for a special regulated use that were in the inappropriate boundaries of the residential area for both 500 and 300. Additionally, for the church, which was set for 500, our intent was to set a standard throughout the city for zoning endeavors. Yes, the request can be made for hardship, but I too am having a struggle to determine how this would be a hardship for their business, since we are well aware of the fact that throughout the city, there are a variety of other parcels that do not conflict with locational boundaries and so forth, and that are similar kind of endeavors. I appreciate the applicant submitting for their benefit, and our intent is to help in regards to development and enhancement of business within the city, yet we need to be conscientious of how we move towards enhancing that. So I am of the view for the 409 that originally our recommendation was 500, city council changed it to 300. And if we grant a variance for this without, in my view, a particular issue for hardship, and then 410 regarding the church has already been established as such on the database. So for my fellow colleagues' efforts, unless my fellow colleagues can provide me some additional insight and so forth, I am moving towards not being supportive of both 409 and 410 for the variances.
Okay, is there any other discussion?
This is Commissioner Jordan. I'll just chime in too that I think in order for us to say that it upholds the spirit of the variance, or excuse me, the spirit of the ordinance, one of the principles that came out through the master plan and then also subsequently in the marijuana ordinance was the concept of residential buffering. And I'll freely acknowledge that Flint historically has not done a good job of residential buffering, that it used to be quite common to see industrial uses right across from residential. And that was one of the things that we heard in the master planning process, is that residents wanted as a whole to see greater attention to buffering, to softening edges and minimizing those kind of heavier uses right alongside residential. And that was ensconced in the master plan. It also then was ensconced in the marijuana ordinances as well. So I like my colleagues in finding it difficult to reconcile the request with upholding that principle from the ordinance. In addition, there's nothing particularly outstanding about this parcel that would indicate that this individual location is needing some relief. It's more so a condition of it being in an industrial zone that's near a residential one, and it's not unique to the property. So on those two bases, I would find it difficult to support this particular request.
And any other discussion from the commissioners? Any further discussion from the commissioners? I've chimed in, and I support the comments by both Commissioner Jewell and Commissioner Jordan in the spirit of the master plan and what we heard as far as wanting some buffer from commercial and industrial uses. And I don't see that this particular request have demonstrated that any hardship when, it's clearly that this business has been used for other things that does not create a undesirable or buffering problem for residential and faith-based communities. Is there any other further comments the commissioners might want to chime in on?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Sorensen.
Sorensen.
Yes, please. I understand and appreciate and certainly have a tremendous amount of respect for the two commissioners that spoke to not support this variance. I happen to think otherwise because of the fact that that is a unique property there, in that it is so mixed as far as business mixture. Yes, I agree, there is residential there, but it is you've got that oil company there, you've got the city yard there, you've got that sign shop there. It's really, I think if any property in the city would lend itself to a variance of the feet in which they're requesting 95 for the church and 130 on the residential, I think this would be the property that would meet that criteria in my eyes, because of the fact that it has been so industrial slash business for so long. But it's, whatever the commission, the desire of the commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the commission? Any other comments from the commissioners? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, since you held the public hearing for input for both 409 and 410, but they're listed separately, could we have separate motions made for each?
That would be fine.
Okay.
As to what is commissioner's desire as to PC 21-409 RB Investment LLC requests a marijuana facility location variance from 300 feet from a residential zoned at 817 West 12th Street, PID 4119-106007. Chair would entertain a motion at this time.
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jordan. For
Commissioner
PC 21-409 RB Investments LLC requesting a marijuana facilities location variance from 300 feet from a residential zone at 817 West 12th Street, PID 4119-106007. I would move that we decline the request with the three findings: that the spirit of the ordinance is to maintain a residential buffer, that the conditions are not peculiar to the individual parcel, and that there hasn't been undue hardship demonstrated, and that the property has rather recently been used for other purposes.
It's been moved. Do I hear support?
Commissioner Blauer, support.
Support.
Got Commissioner Blauer in there first. It's been moved and properly supported that PC 21-409 RB Investment LLC requests for a marijuana facility location variance from 300 feet from a residential zone at 817 West 12th Street be denied. Any further questions with findings that's been set forth? Any further discussion? We have roll.
Commissioner Ryan,
Go ahead.
Yes for denial.
Commissioner Campbell,
Yes.
Commissioner Blauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Jewell,
Yes for denial.
Commissioner Cook Hawkins,
Yes for denial.
Commissioner Sorensen,
No.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Wesley.
Yes for denial. Your request for a variance, residential variance of 300 feet has been denied. Next item is PC 21410 RB Investment LLC request for a marijuana facility location variance from 500 feet from a faith-based organization at 817 West 12th Street, PID 4119-106007. Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jordan. Regarding PC 21410 RB Investments LLC requesting a marijuana facilities location variance from 500 feet from a faith-based organization at 817 West 12th Street, PID 4119-106007. I would move that we deny the request with the three findings that the conditions are not peculiar to the parcel. The spirit of the ordinance is to maintain a buffer from faith-based organizations, and that no undue hardship has been demonstrated as the facility has recently been used for other purposes.
Support.
It's been moved and properly supported. I think that was Commissioner Campbell.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's moved and properly supported that PC 21-410 RMB Investments LLC request for a marijuana facility location variance from 500 feet from a faith-based organization at 817 West 12th Street, PID 4119-106007 be denied. Any other discussion? Roll.
Commissioner Ryan,
Yes for denial.
Commissioner Campbell,
Yes for denial.
Commissioner Blower,
Yes for denial.
Commissioner Jewell,
Yes for denial.
Commissioner Cook Hawkins,
Yes for denial.
Commissioner Sorensen,
No.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Wesley.
Yes for denial. To the applicant, your request for a variance from 300 feet from a residence and 500 feet from a faith-based organization has been denied at this level. Okay. That information will, well, it's been denied. Okay. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is site plan reviews. Commissioner Jewell, I see you have on the agenda for
Yes.
comments of site plan reviews.
Yes, as we're well aware, over our past several meetings, there have been a number of questions and concerns raised regarding site plan documents, and they've come in a variety of forms and formats, etc. Some have been small, some have been moderate, and some related to small or moderate or major construction. And I thought it would only be appropriate, and Bill Vandercook and I chatted a little bit, and we thought we'd do kind of a 2 or 3 stage process. Tonight, just wanted to do kind of an overview. One is for those of you who have already begun the process of going through your Planning Commission member binder. You've had an outstanding opportunity to browse through Planning and Zoning Essentials and the Planning Commissioner's Toolkit. And I just want to make reference that if you go through the Planning Commissioner's Toolkit booklet, there's a section starting on page 50 that talks about site plans. So one, I highly recommend that each of us take some time to review that to again get a better perspective and familiarity. Secondly, if you take a look at the Planning and Zoning Essentials booklet, you'll notice that on page 45 to 49, there's a section that talks about site plan review. Again, I encourage each of us to take some time to review that to become much more familiar. However, our intent for this evening is to talk a little bit about expectations. As you are well aware in the past, particularly for special regulated use site plans, there's been a variety of questions and concerns. One item that I think is of importance, and Mr. Vandercook can confirm this, is that for those site plans that are being requested and also the process, we as the Planning Commission have within our purview the opportunity to request additional items. Bill, could you confirm that?
That's correct, Commissioner. True.
Okay, so I think one of the things that's of importance as Bill and I follow up in regards to bringing us all up to date as to expectations and criteria and so forth. I just want to take some time and kind of do a little round robin. Simple thing. What's one or two key expectations that you have regarding a site plan? And Harry, we're going to start with you if it's okay. Commissioner Ryan, one or two
Okay.
key expectations that you have regarding site plans.
Well, I don't know if this relates to that, but I've noticed when we have site plans, and I don't know what can be done, this is addressed to the commissioners, that we pick up a case review load because they have up to a year to, I guess, make their mind up. So that kind of loads us up. And I'm wondering, is there something that we can do to make this any difference?
So are you saying, how can we streamline the approval of the site plan process?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm just making notes here. Streamline approval process of.
I don't know if we can do anything, but I noticed that our list is getting bigger and bigger.
Right. Well, that's part of our process, Harry. Anything else that jumps out?
No, not at this time.
Okay, Commissioner Campbell.
Yes, sir.
Any expectation or two regarding our site plans?
I guess my only comment is if we're going to, if we stick with what we put out there for the last 2 to 3 years, if we start making, if we start making case for someone that says no, that should be there because it's not being used, I think we can't do that, because after last week, you can believe that that's going to come back again. And
Okay,
if you know what I'm talking about.
Okay, so
the-
what's one thing that you expect of us regarding a site plan?
That we read it carefully and that we go by the guidelines that have been put forth.
Okay, go by guidelines. So again, Leora, thank you for bringing that up. I'm going to share with people, go back to the Planning and Zoning Essentials and the Planning Commissioner's Toolkit. There's some generic overview information on that. And when we follow up with Bill, we'll be able to focus on that. Commissioner Sorensen, welcome aboard. Expectation that you have for a site plan.
Well, I guess the thing that gets me the most is we get these wonderful, expensive architectural drawings, and then the matter is not approved. It's not a final approval. So I always try to, when I see it come back up on the agenda, I always try to pull those site plans so I can have those in front of me. So I don't know if that probably isn't, to make it more, do it and get it done kind of thing. That's the type of person
Would
I am.
you, Commissioner Sorensen, would you say that we need to enhance sharing with the applicants what needs to be included?
Perhaps, because there's various reasons why those haven't been completely approved. Like I see Broome is back on the agenda tonight. So yeah, perhaps we could be a little clearer with the applicant.
Okay, on expectations of site plans to narrow it down. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Cook Hawkins, again, welcome aboard. And expectations or insights that you have regarding site plan.
I think for me, consistency is everything, especially being new to the board and just really understanding site plans and the overall thing of the plan. So consistency is everything for me, especially while learning. I know one thing that sticks out to me, and it may not even relate to site plan, is the thing of rescheduling and constantly rescheduling people for the same thing. Like, for example, Broom Center, that's still on our docket, and I just don't understand how long the stuff stays there.
Okay, so they submitted a site plan. We came up with an administrative approval with number of conditions for them to follow up on. So part of the scenario is maybe having those things addressed in the beginning.
Right.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Commissioner Cook Hawkins?
Nope, that's it for me.
Okay.
Commissioner Jewell,
Yes.
this is Commissioner Campbell, along
Okay.
with Commissioner Hawkins. When under case reviews, it's giving us the name and the number and everything, but could you tell us, or could the staff put down there why we're waiting for them? It just says it's requesting a site review at. What are we waiting for them to bring back to us?
Okay.
That way, I think it may make more sense with the ones that, because all we're doing is reading it. It's there every single 2 weeks. And I understand that some has like 6 months to a year that can be there. But I think we need to be refreshed as exactly what we're waiting for and what they need to bring in.
Okay,
the
so,
application.
okay,
I agree with that.
Okay,
Mhm.
Commissioner Campbell, that's a great item. That's something that I
Yeah.
know Mr. Vandercook has been looking at. Our intent for this evening is just focusing on expectations, but I do know, and I'm pretty sure this evening when we come up with those case views, he will be giving us an update on what's been expected and what's been fulfilled or not. So Carol Ann, Commissioner Blauer, your thoughts?
Sorry about that. I'm having technical difficulties. Can you hear me?
Thoughts? Yes. Your thoughts regarding expectations on a site plan.
I have been kind of in and out of this conversation, but I heard consistency a couple of times pop up. That would be my biggest item. Just consistency throughout the individual application, but then kind of our standards, what exactly we're looking for, as well as kind of the idea of, we have seen site plans recently submitted kind of in draft version. So being very clear that what is being submitted is a final submittal to us, and making that clear to the applicant as well as amongst ourselves, that what we are looking at is kind of not a draft, but a final version.
So being clear to the applicant of what's expected in the site plan.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Thank you ever so much. I'm just jotting notes down here and my pencil lead is breaking. All right.
Commissioner Jewell, regarding Commissioner Flowers' comment.
Bill, just hold on to that, okay?
Thank you. I got it, wrote it down. Thank you.
Just hold on to that. Oh, you were getting clarification from Commissioner Blauer?
That's correct.
Okay. And what was it that you were
part of those, yes, part of those draft versions, would you be thinking about the ones that say not for construction?
Bill, we'll hold on to that. Tonight, we're just collecting input, okay? Thank you. All right. Elizabeth, Commissioner Jordan, your thoughts.
Sure. So I think I'm guided by, as you so wonderfully alluded to, the planning and zoning essentials. One of the things it said is a site plan must be approved if it meets the standards and requirements of the zoning ordinance and the other applicable ordinances. So for me, I really look for site plans as a matter of, does it meet the criteria, yes or no? And I don't look at it as if we have a lot of flexibility with that. So for me, my expectations are that the site plan checklist accurately reflects the requirements laid out in our ordinances, and that the applicants are informed of what those requirements are, and that we use that as the basis of our decision. So I heard Bill mention, but it was actually on my mind to share before he prompted it. But in terms of that whole not for construction label, I am not a construction professional. I know sometimes we've raised that as a point of concern at a site plan, and in those cases, sometimes what we've heard back is, well, we just want to make it extra clear that when folks are actually looking at plans to build from, these are not those plans, that there might be additional information that's required. So I'm kind of agnostic about that, as long as it's clear from everybody that what is approved by the Planning Commission is what gets built. Now, whether that's the same version of the same document that the carpenter needs to use for their bit of the work, I leave that to that. But what we approve is the final version of what needs to be constructed.
Okay, that is clear. What is approved is. In fact, that's directly out of both those sections, out of Planning and Zoning Essential and the Planning Commissioner's Toolkit. And Commissioner Wesley, your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are basically, out of the toolkit, because that's one of the things that I had taken on as far as discussion. Same thing, that our position is basically a ministerial sort of position if it meets all the criteria on our checklist. But I think one of the things that I had difficulty with when I first came on, I don't know how the new commissioners feel, is when I look at the site plan and look at the legend and trying to figure out the legend and figure out what those little dots mean on the legend. How do I make sure that what I'm approving will get done the way it's supposed to get done was my big thing. So yeah, basically what's in our toolkit, if we go from that, I think we'll be okay. I have no real special thing. That non-construction stuff, I think we need to, make sure we get clear to the applicants, if all possible, take that off of the site plan coming before us.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, thank you ever so much. And thank you, commissioners. The whole intent, and Bill and I will follow up on some of this discussion. Again, review the Planning and Zoning Essentials, the Planning Commissioner's Toolkit, items regarding site plans. And yes, there are some definite criteria. And yes, we need to be consistent with that. And just to reaffirm, and Bill can confirm this, for special regulated use, there are additional criteria that we can establish, particularly in regards to site plans. Bill, can you again confirm that? Bill?
I can answer for Bill. This is Corey.
Okay, Corey, can you confirm that?
Yes, there are subjective standards, so the commission has more flexibility.
With special regulated use items.
Correct.
Okay. Which is different than a standard site plan review for a business and et cetera and so forth.
Yes,
All
Commissioner
right.
Jordan was correct. It's objective standards that decision is based on.
Correct, and so forth. All right, fellow commissioners, thank you ever so much. Mr. Chair, done with my section.
Thank you, Commissioner Jewell. And we look forward to your critique of the comments that you received this evening. Next, we go to case reviews. SPR 20941, Sylvester Broom Empowerment Village is requesting a site plan review at 4119 North Saginaw Street. Corey, I think Mr. Vandercook was going to handle case reviews. Is that right, or you?
Yeah, Bill should handle it. Yep.
Okay. Bill? Sylvester Broom Empowerment. Bill, are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me, Commissioner Wesley?
I got you now. Go ahead.
Thank you. Regarding SPR 2941, Sylvester Room in Parliament Village, there's no report, but the items that we can put on the next month's agenda, if you would request those, or the commission would request those, would be the walkway coming from an access lot that was supposed to be included in an agreement with the city regarding lighting. Those are the things that I recall are supposed to be a part of the Sylvester Broom final site plan, and including an agreement between the city with lighting. We are working on those items now, just so that the commission is aware, but there's really nothing that I can provide at this time as far as a report. SPR 21945, Communities First. There's no report for that. The items regarding that was ingress and egress, and the fire department being able to turn around vehicles inside of the facility is the items that I recall. Next month, we'll make sure that the items are on the agenda. SPR.
Mr. Vandercook, the other item for SPR 21-945 was the removal of the term "not for construction" on the construction site plan.
Thank you, Commissioner Jewell.
Bill, when you say that will be on the agenda, those items will be on the agenda. What do you mean? They're going to be, you're going to outline what the ingress, egress, what progress has been made for that, and not for construction taken off of the site plan. When you said lighting, are you going to have something regarding what disposition or where the lighting and the crosswalk is for Sylvester Broom Center? Is that what you're saying is going to be on the agenda for case reviews next week?
Commissioner Wesley, if I understand the request of Commissioner Campbell, she would just like to have the conditions that need to be met as part of the agenda, just to keep the commissioners aware of what items need to be addressed.
All right.
That's correct.
Commissioner Campbell, you was going to say something?
Actually, Mr. Chair, that was correct.
Okay.
So that we all know exactly what it is that's missing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next one, Sercan. Bill?
Right, yep. Sercan Inc. requests a site plan review. That's 21-946. And there was a fire hydrant, and there was ingress, egress for the fire department getting in and out of the facility. There's no report for Secure-Can at this time.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, Bill, my understanding there was also follow-up regarding the splitting of the parcel.
Right, that would be correct, Commissioner Jewell. Thank you.
For my fellow commissioners who wonder, I keep a running log of all of the conditions, and I check them off as we go through each of our meetings.
Okay. All right.
We appreciate that.
Bill? SPR 21-948, QPS.
Right.
And I think some discussion on this one. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner Wesley. Regarding QPS Michigan Holdings LLC, which is SPR 21-948, the Planning Commission reviewed the case for them for a PC case May 11th, and the commissioners, if you go back to the minutes, Commissioner Jewell made a motion to approve that a site plan for that SPR 21-948 QPS Michigan Holdings LLC, requesting a site plan review at Merrill Street and East Wood Street with the conditions of an updated exterior detail lighting and landscaping plan as noted in the site plan checklist. When the applicant submitted the site plan, which I included in your the revised plan which I included in your packet, he revised his floor plan more than 50%. That was a part of the PC cases that were approved on May 25th for QPS Michigan Holdings. So he revised the case for his marijuana facility and his adult use facility. It was approved and a part of his application on May 25th.
So the site plan that we reviewed initially and the one that we have before us now is over 50%. It's totally different. The floor plan is totally different. Well, not totally different, but 50% different than what we initially approved. Is that?
That's correct, Commissioner Wesley, and that would be for PC 21399, and that would be for PC 21400. So the floor plan that he put in his original application for medical and adult use has been altered significantly.
So I guess when we're looking to the commissioner, he has to bring the site plan back before the commission.
This is Commissioner Jordan. So I appreciate the background, Bill. And so as I'm looking in the materials in our packet, there's one that is labeled Level 1 Floor Plan Security. Is that what was the floor plan that was originally submitted?
The floor plan was included in the package last Friday, and that would be the floor plan that was submitted as an addendum to the site plan.
Okay, part of what I'm looking at, and just trying to make sure I make sense of, is there's 2 pages in the addendum that you were sent. One shows the security layout, which is, I'll call it floor plan A, and then the following page, which is just labeled floor plan, is a completely different configuration. So is one of them the first version, one of them is the revised one?
Yeah, the small version would be the first version. The second larger version is the revised version.
Okay. And do we even have?
So the non-colored one is the revised.
That's correct.
Okay. And so do we even have a revised one that's got the updated security on it for the public, for the PC version?
No, we do not yet.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell. Our original conditions that they were going to bring back schematics regarding lighting, particularly on the lights on the building under the canopy, as well as landscaping. Mr. Vandercook, did we receive those?
They're a part of the revised plans, but the floor plan was altered significantly.
No,
so the answer
no,
is yes.
No, Mr. Vandercook, I've got the stuff right before me, okay? And the question I have is a request. The approval was for administrative review with the following conditions: lighting and landscape, particularly on the lighting, was for the additional lights on the side of the building under the canopy with the definition of what those lights were going to be, as well as the landscaping amongst the building and the definition of that, and that there would be an exterior rendering of the building. So the materials I received in my packet, except for the outside rendering of the building, I don't have the others. So did they submit those others to you?
Yeah, Commissioner Wesley, to answer Commissioner Jewell's question, yes, they have, because the floor plan was altered so significantly. I didn't include those in the packet for the commission tonight to review.
Okay, so the lighting, okay, and the landscaping was addressed.
That's correct.
Okay. And it was my understanding that that would be done in consultation. So, and I shouldn't falsely assume, did you have a chance to sit down with the chair to walk through all of these items?
Commissioner Wesley, to answer Commissioner Jewell's question, Commissioner Wesley and I discussed this, and because there was such significant changes in the floor plan, we thought it would be appropriate to bring back to the commission at Commissioner Wesley's request and decide what the commission would like to do. To have all these items included on a site plan and bring them back with the changes.
I understand that. I'm just trying to grasp. You have in your possession, as they submitted to you, which they needed to have done by June the 8th, they submitted to you information regarding the exterior of the building, and they submitted to you information regarding the lighting and the landscaping.
That's correct.
Okay, that's correct. That's fine. I'm just trying to get a handle on that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the secondary thing was the revision in the floor plan was the item that you're focusing on.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, Mr. Chair. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I had all the information before me.
Yeah, and the floor plan is changed over 50%.
50%.
Yeah, so, we need to take another look at that.
Well,
I think if we take a look at the floor plan and we approve the floor plan along with the lighting, and the other items, the other two items, the rendering of the building, then we have we can approve the new floor plan if that's in fact what the commission wants to do. I think that's what we have to look at it. If it meets all the criteria, then we can approve it and go forward from there. So,
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell. Since I was the maker of the motion the last time, I was comfortable with it. What we submitted before was approved with those following conditions to be met in consultation with you as the chair. So in consultation with you as the chair, if those are being met, I'm comfortable with that as the maker of the motion from the last meeting. Regarding the issue of the 50% change in the floor plan, I guess my question at hand is, does it alter the major intent of the previous plan that we approved?
I don't know.
This is Commissioner.
Go ahead. Who was that?
I was just going to say, to me, I don't know that what I've seen of the revised floor plan doesn't necessarily alter the intent. The concern that I do have is that we are sure to get an updated security layout, because the one that we have on file for the special regulated use request is no longer accurate. So as part of us buttoning this up, I don't have a difficulty necessarily with them updating the site plan if we can also be sure that the materials we have for the special regulated use, namely the security layout, are consistent.
Yeah, and I think too, with the floor plan change, I think this has to go back through building again too. Is that correct, Bill?
Mr. Wesley, I can concur with that. I did talk with the building department today, and they want to look at it again. So thank you.
Yeah. So I think once it goes back through building inspection and get back to us, then if we want to look at it administratively, I have no problem with that. If that's the desire of the commission. Mr. Jewell, you're the maker of the motion.
Yeah, no,
ahead.
actually, Mr. Chair, if you're looking for consensus and let you hear objections, I'm comfortable with you continuing in your direction of consultation for the administrative review.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
Commissioner Wesley,
Yes.
Commissioner Wesley, Bill Vandercook, regarding Commissioner Jordan's comments, if we could just make the applicant provide the updated plan for that special regulated use so that can be revised somehow in a motion. I think that would be appropriate.
For the security floor plan?
Yes.
Is that right, Commissioner Jordan?
Right, and so I guess because this is the group that's supposed to be coming to us for our July meeting, correct? Or the second meeting this month,
The second meeting this month.
Yeah. All right, so I guess, so tell me if I'm not phrasing this correctly, but I guess I would move that regarding QPS Michigan Holdings LLC, that we request of them to be provided. What date would you need to have that, Bill, in order to get that for our packets for the second meeting in June?
This week?
Yeah, within the next couple of days.
Yeah.
By the 10th.
Okay, so by the 10th. All right, so I would move that we request of QPS Michigan Holdings LLC that they provide to planning staff no later than June 10th, 2021, a updated security layout that is consistent with the site plan for which they're seeking final authorization. The intention being that we receive that consistent security layout so that we can review that alongside any further updates for their special regulated use request.
Commissioner Jordan, we still review that security updated plan layout administratively. And so when we come back for our meeting, we will know if they provided us with all the information which we requested.
That's fine. Yep.
All right. Bill, you clear with that?
Yes. Thank you, Commissioner Wesley.
So that was a part of a motion, Commissioner Jordan?
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
Do I have support for that?
Support, Commissioner.
Go ahead, Commissioner Ryan.
Commissioner Ryan supported. The motion was that
so just to restate that, the motion was to request QPS Michigan Holdings to provide planning staff with an updated security layout consistent with their requested updated site plan layout. That be provided to staff no later than June the 10th so that it can be administratively reviewed and we can have the information pertaining to that administrative review in time for us to address the special regulated use request at our last meeting in June.
Okay. Commissioner Jordan has stated the motion clearly and has been supported. Paul?
Commissioner Ryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell,
Yes.
Commissioner Blower. Looks like Commissioner Blower is off.
Carol Ann, come on back to us. I haven't gone over my 3 hours yet.
It looks like she's off the call, so I'm going to go with Commissioner Jewell.
No, I'm not. No. I'm sorry. I'm still here.
No, that was Commissioner Blauer. Not you, Commissioner Cook Hawkins.
All right, this is Commissioner Jewell.
Okay.
Yes.
Please call your name.
Commissioner Cook Hawkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
okay, and Commissioner Wesley.
Yes.
And I just want to note that
All
there is
right.
a message in the chat from Commissioner Blauer. She has lost service. So
Tell Commissioner Bauer she got to get her internet squared away. Okay, let's move
Chair.
right along. What's
Mr.
that?
Chair,
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell, I also want to make sure that Bill said that this new sketch is over 50% new. Will they be presenting at that same time that new one that's over 50% increase?
We would
You said it was-
hopefully we will have dealt with that administratively, and
Okay.
we can move on once we get to their request for a special regulated use.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to reports. Status of the permanent marijuana ordinance. Attorney Joanne Gurley.
There is no update on that at this time.
Okay. The status of the marijuana related revenue. To Ms. Wilcox. Is Suzanne on with us tonight?
So Suzanne had a last minute emergency come up. She was gonna make this meeting, but then she had to attend something.
So there's no update on the revenue,
Not at the
status of the draft zoning, and staffing update. I think she gave us a brief update on those at our last meeting. And I don't know if there's any changes to the staffing or zoning ordinance. So we'll table that one. Status of the I-475 committee. I haven't heard anything. I don't know if is it Jonathan on the other end? Jonathan, I think you are the staff person on the I-475 committee. Is that correct?
yes, that's correct. I have made contact with Kalfani Stevens. He sent me some information, and as far as I'm aware, the next meeting takes place on June 23rd. So I'm hopefully after that date, I think the next planning commission meeting after that is in July. I should have an update, and hopefully you can attend that meeting as well. I'll make sure you get the information.
On June 23rd?
Yes, June 23rd. A steering committee meeting will take place.
Okay, very good. Get that information to me, and I will be ready for my birthday celebration. So I'll be ready for that one. Any resolutions? Bill?
No resolutions, Commissioner Wesley.
No resolutions? Let's move to the old business. Planning Commissioners member orientation binder, Flint Planning Commission bylaws. Planning and zoning. Vice Chair Elizabeth Jordan.
All right. Thank you, Chairman Wesley. So I appreciate that we've already had at least one reference this evening to what can be found inside the planning and zoning essentials. And so this, as a reminder, this kind of a way to dip our toe into the water to kind of orient ourselves to some of the materials in the Planning Commission binder that we all received. And so tonight we're focusing on the Planning and Zoning Essentials booklet and the bylaws. rather than kind of going through it and quizzing us or any sort of thing, what I thought might be helpful is to really look at 3 key questions. And so I'm going to invite you to participate in a discussion, a conversation about some of these key ideas that relate to both our own bylaws and then the planning and zoning booklet that we received. So the first question is really reflecting on our roles as planning commissioners. And so I would invite you to think about and to share, what are your most important duties as a planning commissioner? And whoever wants to start is welcome to start.
Oh.
This is Commissioner Ryan. My duty, I think, is, quick summary is to make sure that all of the I's and T's are dotted. I mean, the information is correct. That as far as blueprints, what they say they are, that the city has approved as far as checking the deal, everything is in line. And as a representative of just my area, making sure that everything that I do, there's proof behind it, and that I don't, to me, violate the master plan and follow the law. And it's, if they've done it and got all their I's and T's, then it's my job to make sure that they're approved. They've done what all the requirements.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. And there's not just one right or wrong answer to this. I mean, the bylaws cover a lot of, what the have to do things are, but certainly you touched on a lot of important things relating to what our mission and purpose and role is. Who else would like to share what you feel is your most important duty as a commissioner?
Elizabeth, you like that deafening silence, don't
Well, this is Commissioner Cookhawken. For me, I think just making sure that we're looking for the best interest of the community. I'm very community driven, oriented in everything. I just want to make sure that I'm making the right decisions when it comes to the city. So that's my major thing. I want to make sure that I'm continuously making the right decisions.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell, I'm sorry. Not Mr. Chair, the Vice Chair. I want to ditto Commissioner Ryan and also Commissioner Hawkins, what they said. But I think I've been on the commission for quite a while. And it has been interesting when I started to how far we are now, which is a good thing, because we do have more things that's put in law, or I should say, we put it in law and it was approved by the council. And I think it's very important that we stick with the things that we have outlined, because I can see coming towards us in the future some issues and problems, especially with what happened last week. And I want to make sure that we're all together and that we stand together firmly as a group. Yes, Mr. Chair is always there to say those final words, but I'm sure he always wants us to be behind him while he's making those decisions. So again, it's to me, it's very important, since I'm on the north end, is to make sure that the north end is receiving the information they need, but also letting them know what's going on, because the majority of them are really not landowners. So again, I enjoy it, but again, it's a lot of work. But I think that we, the mission, we do a lot of important things, and people understand that, and I think they look up to not only us individually in our areas, but also our chair and our vice chair, that they do such a wonderful job out there in the community representing us. So that's what I have.
Commissioner Jewell?
Yeah, I was trying to just narrow it down to a couple of key items. One is
what about a couple of key minutes?
How about less than a couple of key minutes? One of the things, and all of you are well aware of it, is I ask a lot of questions and I pursue a lot of directions and tangents. And part of my intent is not only for me to make sure that I'm aware and I'm informed, but are the applicants and the people that are approaching us informed and aware of what they're involved in and what their responsibilities are? And are they able to respond to those questions and concerns? I also approach the effort, I always think of what would my neighbors, what would other people ask? What kind of things would they see that would be of importance? How do I take a look at it from a variety of other perspectives? And then the other one is my 3 C's, attempting to be clear, concise, and consistent. So there's a sense of comfortability in our endeavors. So there's a sense of commonality. So in a lot of ways, it's part of the role and responsibilities. I think that was under 2.5 minutes.
You did a great
Very
job,
good.
Mr. Jewell.
Very good. Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell, I would also like to commend the staff for putting this manual together. It is larger than the first one I received. So you can imagine over the years, the things that have improved and they have always been there. So I want to make sure that we always applaud the staff for what they put forth, and they're always asking questions if they don't understand, which I appreciate it. So that's my count. I want to make sure everybody know that this is, those of you that's been here, this is my second one. So a lot more than this one than it was at the beginning. So I appreciate their efforts in going forth. Thank you.
You know, marijuana came to an effect.
No. Well, we can't talk about that.
Yep. Well, so thanks for everybody who chimed in on that one. And I think that you covered a lot of bases in terms of our sense of public duty and responsibility and ethics and all of that. And so I guess that kind of flows into the next question, which is, why is having the master plan and the zoning ordinance important, and how does that relate to how it guides our own work? So how do we rely on the master plan and zoning ordinance as kind of our guideposts for decision making?
Elizabeth, I just want to say why the master plan is our guidepost, because we had so much community involvement looking at how the community want their city to look. And then with our changing it, you know, we got future outlook of our master plan that looks at, you know, land use, you know, where Flint had almost 200,000 folks, and now they got maybe less than 100,000. And our master plan deal with, how we're going to treat those vacant properties, how we're going to treat those lands, how we want Flint to look. That's what I think in the input that we got from the community in helping develop that master plan. I think that's the future thing that we have to look at. So that's my quickie.
Absolutely. Others, why are the zoning code and the master plan so important?
This is Commissioner Jewell. If there's no zoning code and there's no master plan, the purposes of planning commissions don't exist.
No.
So I think in a lot of ways, we have a responsibility as a community-based group and as an oversight group to make sure that we're focusing on that. And that's, to use the expression, that's our mission. To be the reinforcers, the motivators, the guardians, whatever term you want to use, of the master plan and the zoning ordinance, and to be, again, clear, concise, and consistent and representative of the community. And I think one of the things that our fellow commissioners may or may not be aware of, Flint is unique in the sense that our representation on the planning commission is based on ward. And that's because of it being written as such within the city charter. If you take a look at the Enabling and Zoning Act, changes were made, I think about maybe 8 years ago or more or less, in which planning commissioners would have different types of professional representation unless the municipalities governing entities, i.e. the charters, state otherwise. So I think in some ways that's a strength for us.
Thank you. Anyone else want to chime in? I guess one of the things that I'll note for myself is I'm really mindful that I'm an appointed official and not an elected one. So nobody voted for me. My ideas are my own. And so having that guidepost of the master plan and the zoning code, which do reflect a significant consensus of folks from our community who are directly involved in crafting the master plan, and the role of the elected officials, specifically in this case our city council, in authorizing that and in acting the zoning code, that's where we get a lot of our legitimacy from. And so part of the reason why I feel really bound by those standards and criteria in whatever decisions that we make in our roles. All right, so moving us right along, because I promised not to take more than 10 or 15 minutes for this. So the last question that I had for this evening really gets to that decision-making capacity. And I certainly, I know I've had times in my life where I've had an applicant try to approach me outside of a meeting or, that sort of thing. And it really brings to the forefront the importance of upholding our values in the way that we go about making decisions as planning commissioners. And so I wondered if there's anybody who might want to share for you, what practices do you do, or what standards do you look to in terms of upholding your values in making ethical decisions as a commissioner? All right. Or maybe I'll just preface it to say, personally, I enjoy working with each of you. Some of you I've worked with longer than others, but I look at how this body functions and I feel good about the ethical conduct for our members. And that seems to be a really important thing. So how do you see your ethics playing out in your role as part of this commission?
Commissioner Ryan, I know that my councilman selected me based on my experience in skilled trades, marijuana, license. So I know that he gets a report from me. He thinks that my judgment is good, and I know that I have to have facts behind it and not be random, and that this board function better than any board I ever seen, far as we usually all agree, but even when we don't agree, we be united. So I know that each person has a different skill set and bring a lot, and I listen, because listening is a big part of it. And that's one of the most things that I learned, of listening, learning other point of views, other people's skill set, what they bring to the table, which has broadened my perspective, my values, because I'm more now, is like I said earlier, it's about being professional, consistent, and doing the right thing for the progression of the city.
Definitely. Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. How about for others? How do you bring your ethics into the room with you?
Commissioner Jordan, I think this is Commissioner Campbell. I think all of us being out in the community and always on the same page makes a huge difference. I think our committee is probably one of the better directed, one of the better, our managers, I shouldn't say managers, but our you and also Bob and also the rest of the commissioners are very important, and they really appreciate us out in the community. And they walk up to me, some people I have no idea where they live, and they will ask me questions so it lets me know that they're watching, even though some people go down to Mondays to the meeting. When they really want to know something, they come to our meetings. And I think that says a lot about us. And they're always held very professionally.
Sure. Thank you very much, Commissioner Campo. Anybody else want to chime in?
This is Commissioner Jewell. I think one of the things I'm a firm believer in is information and awareness and education and knowledge is a great tool, a great power, a great opportunity to help move forward. And part of, and I'll go back to what I shared before, part of questioning is not just to see if somebody else has the same information, but what information do we not have? What information is being overlooked? What information have we already agreed upon to work together in as a common direction? And I think that's part of the effort. And I agree with the other commissioners of each of us have a great individual skill set. And at times when we've met in person and we've all noticed this, we'll look at each other and we'll go, okay, who's going to take that particular approach? Who's going to take that question? Who's going to cover that particular arena? So in a lot of ways, we're a team. And I think we should applaud each other for working towards that. Will there be disagreements? There sure are. But otherwise, I think we have a common direction.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Jewell. Anybody else?
Elizabeth, I'm just going to chime in and say that, working with this commission and, understanding what each of our skill sets are, it seems that each commissioner here has the ability to listen, and we can share information, and we don't have to agree with it. But if we agree with everything, then we wouldn't be a commission. We have to disagree, and we explore things, and we can agree to disagree. And I think that's the greatest thing about this commission, and it has been, and it's been my joy to work with the commissioners, because we have a vast reservoir of knowledge, and each one of us comes and we listen to each other, and we work through our grievances, and we get them done less than 8 hours. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
God bless you.
Yeah. Commissioner Jordan, I'm curious to hear from Commissioner Cook Hawkins and Commissioner Sorensen.
Rob, now I got it on good authority. One person continue to call them out, they're gonna come find you off of these Zoom meetings here.
That's why I'm known as the phone.
And that's why we all know where you live. Don't forget that.
All right, Elizabeth, you're losing control.
All right, there. So with that, I will say thank you, and I will echo what others have said, that this is an honor to serve with you, and the commitment to public service, I think, runs deep in this group, and so I value that. So thank you for this exercise. I know, Bob, you had indicated that you might want to walk us through the Planning Commission toolkit for a future meeting, so I will leave that in your hands.
Okay, I think if for our next meeting, I'm going to look at the toolkit in our big binder, and I'm going to pick out a couple of things to look at, which I think are important, that we have to work with. So that's what I'll do.
Mr. Chair, to Commissioner Jordan, the other thing was the bylaws. Were you going to quiz us? I know what's on the last page, or on page 8.
I'll email you your very own quiz.
It was updated on November 10th, 2020.
Oh, God. Rob. Okay. Oh. Okay.
Pleasure, honey.
Elizabeth, does that conclude
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And thanks so much for that. American Rescue Plan, I think that was ideas of, and I think Suzanne was going to take that one too. So we'll table that one. Any new business? Any new business? Hearing no new business, I think we got a lot of things accomplished this evening, and if we can get out of here. And so if nobody have anything else, the chair would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly supported. If anybody has nothing else good for the order, we will adjourn. All in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hey, Rob.
Yes.
I heard from Cook Hawkins and Sorensen.
Yep, I'm here.
Heard that.
Yeah. I didn't want to overbrag my attributes, so I was,
Oh my goodness.
so I didn't want to say what made me good at my job. So,
We know you're good.
What makes you good at your job?
Hey guys, have a good evening and stay cool. Take care.
All right,
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye now.